with a blink, I just got a fight. I said, but when I need legs, they go slap.
Fuck. You done?
No. I thought I was doing one shot.
Let's go!
Didn't really finish it. What's up, guys?
That was you bitch.
Large Lads, episode 19.
We back, baby!
Alright, let's get right into it with your host, Max Sheether.
Pass me that towel. Fuck.
Returning... Returning guest.
Wow, hold this fucking L, dude. All that shotgunning for nothing.
Also, you literally can't even see the hole in the can because I use such a thin
You should have used a box cutter, to be honest.
We were talking about how, like, if I set it up beforehand, it would be cheating.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't want to spend too long, like, wedging open the can.
Though.
No, that was a mistake.
Do you think it would have helped that much, or was it, like, the carbonation that was fucking you up?
I think it was, like, I was honestly having to, like, suck beer in, to be honest. Thank you. All right.
You basically just built a straw into the can.
I made it, I think, harder, because I was like, I think I could have finished that faster normally.
Yeah, if I finished it normally faster, I'm not very good at chugging stuff.
If you were training for solely functional strength, how would you train?
Sick transition, holy fucking. Man, so if we're training for solely functional strength, I guess that kind of depends. Like, are we talking about, like, actually stuff I do in day to day? Because I'm already strong enough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if it was like your whole thing was just being like prepared for any situation, but we're talking only strength because we've discussed before that the real functional thing would be like a lot of cardio and
it's like if you really are obsessed with being ready for most scenarios that hypothetically could maybe
like have a good mile time.
Which, like, you know, there's some validity to that, but I think the guys that really go crazy with that are nutso. It's like, no, you're probably not going to be jumping into a burning bit. What are you talking about, right? Like,
we've discussed this before, but let's say you are one of those dudes and you are trained for functional strength. What do you do?
All right, and we're already, it's a given. I'm doing a lot of conditioning.
Yeah, all of that.
Sprinting and jumping is like just the strength training. Yeah. I mean, it's probably pretty fundamentally similar to strongman, right? Where it's like, okay, we got a couple general categories of movement. And again, we're probably going to be taxing those in a little bit more like longer time interval. We're still probably working on maximal strength a little bit, but we're doing some kind of squat. I just like back squats, like high bar back squats, maybe some front squats.
It's very silly. I'm really just like bags. Bags are the.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting to that, right? Because it's like I like Zach McCarley's breakdown of strongman. I think it's just a nice, simple like here's the 6-7 categories.
Yeah.
If you're pretty good at these 6-7 categories, you're very ready, right? Because you got the static, and the static one's tricky for like this whole like functional strength thing. Because if you're fucking zapped from doing heavy deadlifts and squats all the time, then you're going to be fried more than likely when your emergency situation comes up.
That is a really funny one where it's like...
you and I are fatigued always.
Yeah,
it's like we're never ready.
if I'm like the burning car, you have to lift it off your... I'm going to be like, ooh, my back's pretty sore.
Dude, I'm fucking torched from deadlifts yesterday.
Dude, I'm not thinking of this guy. You're going to have to wait 2 or 3 days.
I know, it's like, I've got a 3-day window where I'm extra not ready from doing those. But like, you can break down, you're pressing... Which, like, I kind of like the strongman version, which is like a little bit more overhead centric, maybe a little bit more leg drive centric. Functional strength, right? Like, that probably scales a little better. Maybe some incline, maybe some dips, maybe some flat bench, but like more overhead with leg drive than anything else.
Do you think you would have a disproportionate amount of grip in your training?
Honestly, so that's the thing is a lot of time when you're like talking about like carrying stuff in real life, you're holding it more like a sandbag, and like bicep endurance and isometric strength comes into play. So it's like if we look at those categories, at overhead, kind of like a strongman. You got squats and deadlifts, probably training for a little bit more for reps. You've got dynamic strength, so moving strength.
Yeah.
Does a max yoke for like maximum speed matter? Not so much.
Yeah.
We'd probably be looking at like front zercher carries. I think scale really well to like moving objects in real life. Farmers and bag carries, and these kind of build the like you got the grip, you got the bicep endurance, you kind of got the upper back, lower back endurance kind of part of carrying.
Yeah.
And we'd probably be unlike strongman, where a lot of the time we're doing like best time for a fixed distance. We're probably doing maximum distance in a fixed time. I think that scales a lot better to like real life shit of like how far can I go in a minute?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. You've got loading strength. Again, I would probably just pick sandbags if this is like you got kegs and stones and strongman.
Yeah.
I think sandbags do scale pretty well to just picking up weird shit in real life.
Yeah.
So it's like sandbag to shoulder, sandbag extension, sandbag up onto a platform. Those kinds of things I think are sandbag over the shoulder like Brian Alsbury does.
Yeah.
Those scale pretty well. Then you got grip and you got conditioning. And it's like, honestly, yeah, that framework works pretty well for being like real life strong as well. If you just change them slightly away from like, okay, well, the competitive dynamic movement might be a yoke, ultra heavy, really fast.
You know, it always like hurts my ego a little bit. That if I was like trying to be objective with like what is functional strength, leg training probably wouldn't be as important as in my mind it should be.
It's a mixed bag, right? Because it's like the reason you can jump high still and run fast still is largely because your legs are strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not as like maximal leg strength probably.
Yeah,
like, there's
like,
so many things that limit before that, but it's still pretty up there.
Yeah, like what is quote unquote functional strength? And if we're looking like what is going to be like asked of you, it's almost never high bar squatting 700, which is a real bummer.
Yeah,
I think people should be. Yeah, there's more challenges in life that would demand that because I think it's cool. It's real strength. It's just not functional.
We gotta flip the script. You see people like you have gym strength.
Yeah.
I've got real man working. You gotta have pussy laborer strength. I've got real gym strength.
You have wage slave strength.
Wagey strength versus bougie hobby in our garage strength. Come on,
this
now.
guy works for a boss. This guy, go do what your boss tells you to do. What is the best and worst muscle to have disproportionately huge? If we're talking purely for physique.
All right, so are we talking like everything else is like medium developed and you have like one Mr. Olympia muscle? Or are we saying like you don't look like you lift except for one muscle? Because I think that would change. If you don't like, I feel like the best muscle to have jacked is the weird muscle that sometimes there's people that don't lift that have huge. It's calves.
Okay.
Because it's just like that happens.
Yeah.
If every other muscle on your body looks like you don't lift, and you get one thing that's like Mr. Olympia mode, just make it calves because I've seen people that look like that.
Yeah.
Like calves are the only muscle I've seen someone that doesn't resistance train have the biggest muscle I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There was some guys at the Rainier that were like just like 21-inch calves. I was very jealous.
Yeah.
I was like extreme jealousy.
Yeah.
But if we're talking like, okay, well everything is moderately developed, one muscle is gonna be huge.
Yeah. I feel like the common answer would be forearms, just because it's like okay, so if we're talking like they're extremely hypertrophied, right?
Yeah.
That just give you a super blocky midsection.
You're at like rectus abdominis, not your obliques. You just have a fucking sick abs, dude.
The weird Eddie Hall.
Forearm. Yeah, if you're
gonna show the Eddie Hall guy.
Yeah, like traps way ahead looks kind of goofy. I know some guys on YouTube really like that look. I cannot get down with it.
Well, I just like if your shoulders aren't big,
massive
and your traps
shoulders,
are huge, it does look straight.
Huge shoulders with everything else small. It really highlights how small your arms are. Like I've seen
that was a big thing. Was that guys being like, I actually want small arms and big shoulders, so it's like my V taper.
That's crazy.
That's definitely a wild aspiration.
I'm trying to think. Like biceps, you just look like a curl bro, but that's passable.
Curl bro's pretty cool.
Having big arms. Triceps, not a terrible one. Like it really doesn't even jump out too much.
I think it looks kind of weird, partially because I kind of have
because
that.
we both have that.
It does look a little bit strange.
Forearms is a great shout. Chest would look weird.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys like lats, where they're like, if I'm gonna have one big thing, like, yeah, then you just have a wide back.
It is pretty cool if you just have
With the
massive.
spidery arms, it looks a little weird. But
Yeah.
okay, lats, I could see a good argument.
Just a weird turtle shell.
Glutes would be pretty funny.
Just a fun, like, huge ass. I thought quads would be just,
Wicked
like,
quad. Actually, that's my pick. I just want wicked quads.
Yeah.
If I was just like an average dude with like fucking big rammy quads, that's sick. There's just what's his name? The sprint cyclist.
Yeah.
Robert Forstman or whatever.
He's still pretty jacked, but
Yeah, but
they're
nothing
definitely
nothing like
disproportionate.
his legs.
Yeah, I might pick back. I think the gangly ape build is actually maybe
Not bad.
yeah.
I'm going forearms or quads.
I feel like that's like a little bit like weird, short, jacked Italian man energy of just having this like diesel back.
Unbelievable back, and then everything else like.
It's like your arms are a little bit thin, like your chest look caved in. You just got this massive
what's
back.
the worst?
Oh, the worst muscle to have huge. See, I was thinking.
I mean, you're getting bullied if you're a dude and you're just an average looking dude and you have like Ronnie Coleman glutes.
I don't think it's bullying. I think
Your boys are going to torch you though. If you have friends and they are true friends,
It's such an easy response though. If there was like, dude, you have a fat ass. If you're like, why are you looking at my fucking cheeks, brother? You're obsessed with my cheeks.
Worst. Nothing but traps probably ranks pretty high for me.
Yeah. It looks like you just don't know how to deadlift. Like if I saw someone just massive traps, like that guy does a lot of ugly deadlifts.
Yeah, I that might be my pick. No, easy. It doesn't
Obliques.
Yeah, nothing but fucking massive obliques. Easy answer. That's the fucking worst. That is the worst one.
Only trained rotational. This fucking train. This muffin top of muscle. All right. If you had no competitive aspirations, what three and could only train 3 lifts for the rest of your life? What would they be?
That answer probably changes with the fucking month based on what I'm liking. But like probably a high bar squat.
Okay.
Probably a high bar squat. Right now, I'm like really enjoying behind the neck strict presses.
Okay.
So I'm picking that right now.
That's crazy.
Probably would have been dips at a lot of points in the past.
Okay.
If my push press didn't feel like shit, it'd be my push press.
Okay.
And then maybe a RDL or a bent over barbell row.
Okay. I was gonna say like high bar squat.
Yep.
Just because I feel like if I was like an old man and had small legs, it'd really be a great shame to me.
Yes.
Um.
I'm gonna like it seems like legs it's hard to preserve leg size. Like when you see like bodybuilders start getting old, their sweep just starts to go away. I plan on fighting against that. I don't want small legs,
dying
man.
breath. I was thinking about adding curls just because I was like, I feel like being an old. Because I'm thinking like
Old
once
guy
I
with
retire, just having big
legs and
biceps.
I've thought
really-
about that too. I'm gonna start seriously training my biceps once I'm done with serious strength training.
Yeah.
Or like not done with serious strength training, but like competitively.
Yeah.
I want to be the old guy with big biceps. That's such a fucking G old guy move.
It's really embarrassing that I think I could still get newbie gains on my biceps.
Oh,
right
dude,
now.
for
It's
sure.
like,
If you just train them remotely seriously.
yeah, just 3 days a week I started doing.
I think I'll be able to get newbie gains at 50
Yeah.
on my biceps just by actually starting training them. And then it'll be fun because I'll be able to make good progress.
So I'm thinking high bar squat. I'm gonna do a row and hope that carries over to my biceps enough. Like a barbell row.
Okay.
Because that feels like functional strength.
If you
like
want
that's
to
gonna
carry over your
preserve my
biceps, do
ability.
pull-ups.
What?
Do pull-ups. Like neutral shins or chins. Because then you could get the back development. You're not getting that posterior chain loading, but you're getting the back development and probably a good bit more biceps than you would get a row.
Yeah. Well, I just
Chin-ups.
my only that is a better like if the focus is the bicep. That's a way better point. I'm just like I want to make sure I can like do stuff. I guess a high bar squat.
I
still
don't
doing
know.
a
If you're like a fucking 60-year-old dude and you're dunking high bars, you're probably able to do with stuff.
That's fair. And then like a close grip bench or something or dumbbell, probably dumbbells.
Not like an incline.
No, I don't like incline.
That's fair.
I have to die. I
don't
have
like
no.
that shit.
I have no love for incline. If you saw a lifter at the gym, what is a sign that they're a based lifter? You're not talking to them, just observing what they're doing.
It's funny because I do see people look like I like that guy's training.
I do all the time, bro. Just like see someone like casually be like, oh, good stuff.
You go first. I got to brainstorm here.
Okay, so one, if I just see someone doing like a high bar then RDL's workout, I'm like, this is someone who like generally is just putting in meat and potatoes work.
Yeah, like
that was a session of mine that I did for I think 4 years.
Or overhead press to pull up.
Yeah. That like it seems real simple. Where it's like you found one good
or
productive
front squat and deadlift. You haven't done that one, but that's like another like meat and potatoes basic strength training session.
I'm not going to be like, this person knows what they're doing, but if someone's doing a really, what looks like a very hard circuit, I'm always just like, a little bit of plus respect.
Yeah.
I feel like the average lifter, I'm like, that person isn't training that hard. But if I see someone just like sweating their ass off, doing like leg extensions into walking lunges with a bag.
Oh, and they're like actually close to mechanical that's one that always like, if someone is actually close to mechanical failure on like a single leg movement,
yeah,
I'm like, wow, all right, sick.
Yeah,
You're actually training. It's like so many people like, oh man, my legs are burning. These are tough. But they're not getting anywhere near not being able to stand up. It's like I'll just see some random guy training for his hike, like have like a bar on his back with like, I don't know, like 95 pounds. And it's just like, holy fuck, he might not come back up from that lunge. Like that guy's training. Let's go.
I remember there was a dude when we were living in Washington that I saw he was doing. It was like basically like a deadlift AMRAP into just an AMRAP of push-ups, and then he'd get up and do more deadlifts.
That's so sick.
And I was like, that's the hardest thing I've ever seen.
I got big dogged by an old guy at the gym in town the other week.
Okay.
Where he wasn't doing warm-ups. He would just like load like 2.5 plates, deadlift it, then go over to like the preacher curl, put weights on, do his work set.
Yeah.
And he just big dogged me. He's like, "Are you working out?" Well, I was like doing rest using a piece of equipment. And I was like, "God fucking damn it, dude."
Are you working?
It's like, yes, I am. And like you could tell he thought I was just a pussy for resting.
That's so sick. Just
like,
wandering around doing like 4 reps, walking over to
yeah, I can
thing.
cope and just be like, "Shut the fuck up, old man."
Yeah.
Deadlifting 275.
Yeah.
I need to rest to deadlift my deadlift.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he big dogged me. There's no coming back from. Are you working out?
Yeah. I feel like this was a big lifting cultural thing that I've always disagreed with. If there are plentiful squat racks, doing a curl in one of them is cool.
Well, it used to be that there weren't plenty.
There's one
Do you remember
squat
we had
rack.
our gym we started at had one rack, and thankfully back then no one used it to squat.
Yeah.
Like so, it was like.
We were
It
the
was
only
more
person who
likely
used
to
it.
be taken by someone curling
Yeah.
than someone squatting, in which case, yeah, fuck you, get the fuck out of here, dude.
If I saw someone at our gym with like 10 power racks doing just
Now like modern, like strength training friendly gyms.
Yeah.
Like my college gym had even more racks than Prime.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Especially if they're doing like a plate, you got a great claim to that.
All right. I'm
Hold on,
introducing
wait. What was the question?
signs of a based lifter.
Yeah, so good organized workout that's
Okay.
like very meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Technique really jumps out. Like not someone who's like doing one plate with perfect technique, but someone who's got good tech with moderately like difficult sets. If someone's got a nice looking squat, I immediately am like base lifter because that takes some work. Even guys who like start mobile, it looks janky.
Yeah.
No one jumps in with a really, really like stable, deep, pristine squat. So it's like when I see something like I'm like, ooh, you've done like your research.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a good deadlift. That doesn't happen by itself. I guess that's the biggest thing is like I kind of at this point know what to look for in terms of tech of like, man, that guy's put some thought into it. So many people don't. Even wicked strong people don't.
Yeah.
So seeing someone that's like not just doing like the whole like I'm just gonna keep doing 2 plates until it's perfect and then never go up, but someone who's training hard with good tech, I'm like, you've put like serious thought and effort into that. Doesn't really matter how much is on the bar. If someone's got like 185 and they're doing like nice looking squats. I remember Tyler before I talked to him. I saw his workout. I was like, this dude knows what he's doing. He was like he was just doing some benches and he was like setting into his arch and it looked good and he was like maintaining tightness and then he did like good form weighted pull-ups and then like, I don't know, some kind of like dip and then some kind of row. I'm like, wow, that's a very good basic session with good technique. you know what you're doing. That's
I think
sick.
I'm always especially impressed when like this person isn't like a powerlifter / strength athlete. They're like a regular athlete who's in here who has better strength training than like the vast majority.
Yeah.
I remember the most rattled I think both of us have ever been was at the YMCA on the East Coast when we walked in and there was a guy doing a full like no equipment high bar 4 plates for reps.
I know. I was like,
it was the
holy
most
fuck, what a champion.
shattering thing. We were like, oh my god, he's not even wearing a belt.
It's so funny because that's the reaction people think they're like in those videos of them screaming and doing their like unbelievably autistic strapped sumo deadlifts in a mask.
Yeah.
They're like, everybody in the background's just so shocked.
Yeah.
Whereas you and I walk in as 700 plus pound squatters, like, holy fuck, that guy squat 4 plates so deep, holy shit. I never in a million years expected to see someone doing like a pretty strong guy doing a pretty goddamn good job with like deep no equipment high bar squats, especially at that gym. Never in a million years did I think I would see that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's really funny.
I remember being like, it was like the most rattling thing. I was like, damn, that guy must have put in work to get there.
Dude, I really have the opposite perception though. Like I feel like there's these people that walk in, they're like, everybody's like miring how strong I am. And like they've got this such a favorable interpretation of how people are seeing them.
Yeah.
The stronger I've gotten, I'd go into like a regular gym when we're traveling and I'm like, they hate me. They hate me. Everybody hates me.
I think everybody
wants me to leave right now.
I think everyone who goes to our gym that we consistently goes to does not super like me.
Yeah, because you don't talk. Like I keep telling you, you don't talk to anyone.
Well, I'm just like I'm probably a bit smelly. I use up most of the plates.
When everybody thinks you're shit, they're like, yeah, but he weighs like 400 pounds.
Oh my god!
If I weigh 400 pounds, I'd probably do that too.
Yeah, we're just like, well, that fat dude over there is doing.
Nobody knows dots, so they don't know that you're actually good for the weight class. They're just like, yeah, no, it's like Max was accused of someone much weaker. They're like, well, you're about as good as Max. Like, you know, you have to consider he's in a different weight class. And it's like, holy fuck, the person being compared wasn't close. It hurt my soul to hear that. But yeah, no, I assume people don't hate me at our gym.
Yeah.
You know, I try to be friendly to everybody and
Gym's very social.
I try to maintain a good like standing among people ish.
Yeah.
You know, if I miss, I try not to just act like a complete rage monster moron. But when we go to like a YMCA, when we're like traveling over to Washington or we're going to Idaho, and it's like, oh, I just assume everybody hates me and wants me out of there. They're like, who the fuck is this fat bald guy? I try to be super quiet.
That's so funny because I feel like the few times we've gone to a YMCA, it's like the time we get the most compliments.
Yeah, you did and I didn't.
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
Yeah.
Max did like a 6-plate squat and everybody was like literally just like masturbating in the gym. It was crazy. And everybody's like, oh my god, big guy, you're so. I did a set of 10 on behind the neck push press at 3 plates, and everybody was just like, "Why is he using his legs? What is that exercise?" Nobody said anything. It really, really hurt my ego.
I think it was because of my jolly energy. I'm introducing a new segment where I challenge Sam to something every Large Lads episode. This one is going to be a grip contest. We'll see you there.
Easy.
We should do a max length barbell hold.
Hi, big boy.
How long do you think you'd hold a barbell?
The bar.
Yeah, just the bar.
I'd never want to find that out. That sounds so not fun.
Next Large Lads
Just
challenge.
like 3 hours and we just speed it up.
I don't think it'd be nearly that long. Do you think you could do over 10 minutes?
Yes.
Behind the back?
Yes.
Is it that light?
Yes, that's fair. All right. One, we know you guys are going to absolutely cook us on that terrible chug. I swear to God, Max is good at it. Carbonation makes it fucking shitty, but you guys are going to cook us. I see that coming. Fair enough. It's probably a shitty watch. We're going to do a maximum behind the back pick. We do the pick behind the back because then you can't support it on your thighs. It makes it a little bit more of a true test of grip strength. And we're doing the pick, not like a max double overhead deadlift, because we both have real training this week and don't want to fuck that up. Get the warm-up reps in?
Oh, you don't go through a range of motion, you know?
Okay. You're good.
I always had this like ego that I could double overhand something I definitely couldn't. So, like,
By not the same. I haven't done a double overhand deadlift in a while. I'm like, yeah, I could probably do like 600.
not as easy.
Well, I sent it to the Discord to have guys try the behind the back.
Yeah.
And everybody was expecting to do like 4 plates.
Yeah.
For like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And a bunch of them were like 275. They're like, that was unbelievable.
Oh fuck. Drop your prediction on who wins.
That looked like a lockout to me. Fair enough. Also, if you guys are going to try this, just 2 notes. Power bar is thicker. Don't use a bent bar. If you use a bent bar, it adds like if it's bent enough, it no longer tries to roll your hand open.
Also, don't max out. Just do a 30-second.
Yeah, if you're training them, do 30 seconds holds. If you're
yeah, tag us if you guys try and max out. Let's know what you get.
someone's going to fuck us up on this.
Ooh.
I hope they're not using except if there's a bent bar. Because next time we should use a bent bar.
Or if you have big hands, doesn't count either.
Yeah, fuck you.
Hard?
Yeah.
All right. I think 545 will be the determiner.
Don't choke.
No.
What do you think?
I don't know.
We'll see if I can do it any better. I don't think I can.
I can't wait till someone just tags us in like a 700.
I'll just accuse them of having a bent bar.
That's good. This is technically a brand new Ohio.
Yeah, ours is guaranteed not bent because it's literally straight out of the box is in the background. But that doesn't mean anything.
Well, that was cleaner. Which means I'm going to 555. For sure, though. It's a weird one because normally I'm like, I just need to do a better job of X, Y, and Z, and I'll get this rep. But it's like,
so I don't want to help you. But I'll tell you what to do.
All right.
So if you want to squeeze with your paint, dig it deep.
Oh yeah, I'm rotating like a motherfucker.
Yeah, so you're rotating, and you want to try to point your knuckles slightly down towards the floor. So a very slight forearm flex to keep your knuckles. Because the second your knuckles start rotating forward is when you lose it. So the cues you'll use is rotate and bite into it so knuckles go down slightly. Full squeeze, knuckles down, then pull.
Womp womp, I lost.
Yes.
Viking Angst Lord Untested son or IPF anime Hypebeast son?
I might have to pick the IPF Hypebeast fucking anime son.
Yeah, that's...
What are you picking? Viking Untested son or USAPL anime son?
I feel like most of the anime Untested sons are...
Untested?
Sorry, tested.
Yeah.
Are cringe, but harmless. A lot of the Viking dudes are morally dubious. And so I think I have to lean towards the anime Hypebeast.
Yeah, just don't follow them on Instagram. Most of them are pretty cool guys.
That's the thing, yeah.
Just do not watch their Instagram reels.
Don't see what odd. You can honestly just watch them on mute, and I feel like most of the times.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. What are a few small tips and tricks you have that makes both lifting or eating easier?
All right. You go first?
I got this from Sam, but broccoli slaw. I'm sure Sam has put his 2 cents in. So easy. If you're eating beef and rice to get your vegetables in. I feel like I used to do I'd eat beef and rice, and then I'd have then I need to eat a handful of carrots and peas or whatever, or
Max used to crush snap peas.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually good micronutrient wise, but I did eat a lot of them.
And it's green.
It is green, which is usually it. But broccoli slaw I have found way easier because it's just mixing it into one.
Yeah.
I actually tried
it just adds texture too. It makes it almost easier to eat.
I tried to add fruit to a beef and rice meal once.
I mean, I've had a peanut butter. It wasn't terrible.
I feel like that's a real sign of how deep you are into the lifting bro train is how gross you've gotten.
Trying to make your meals interesting.
Yeah, just like, damn, maybe blackberries will make this shit.
Yeah, the broccoli slaw does add a texture that actually makes it, like, especially if you're using ground turkey or ground chicken or ground beef.
Yeah.
The rice and the ground beef kind of lacks a texture, which can kind of get gnarly as like the meal goes on.
Yeah.
Broccoli slaw adds texture. It's sick.
It's also a pretty neutral flavor.
Yeah.
I got the Costco vegetable mix, and it's a little bit more strong because I think it's just better vegetables.
Yes.
But I was like, it's still like a crunch is good if you're,
add a little crunch goes a long way.
You've only eaten beef and rice for the last 4 months.
And then I guess on that same tangent, just the old Stan Efforting trick of pouring a little bit of chicken stock or bone broth over your rice, making it just a little bit damp, makes it so much easier to eat big quantities than when the rice is completely dry. You got another one?
I do. Most of my tips and tricks are coming from Sam, obviously, because you're my coach. There was one you gave me a long time ago, which was like, even if you don't need to wear a different pair of shoes for benching, to change shoes to go bench. And it's not for like anything for like grip reasons. It's solely just the ritual of like going and getting ready. And I now do bench in my sneakers just because they have decent grip.
Yeah.
But I've kind of just made that into like, I'll go and sit in the locker room for like 3 or 4 minutes, and just like it'll be like the change in my day from like I'm doing work and like talking with people, and now I'm sitting here with the goal of going in and like identifying like what are my main objectives for the session. And it sounds silly and small, but like it really can sometimes just be
like some people that's sitting in a car before they go in and making sure that they walk into the gym with that kind of like little switch flipped. For me, actually, when I used to have these, actually Kirsten's now. I used to have these pair of elbow sleeves that were very similar to the hook grip knee sleeves, where they truly are just like made of like sock material. They're cloth. There is no rebound at all. They're truly just for warmth. And I bought a pair of those in college for no good reason. I just thought they looked cool. And I found that really helped, right? Because it was part of my ritual to like, okay, squats is big, serious training. I'm not just exercising, I'm training. And putting on like, oh, my knee sleeves go on. Like I've got my equipment for training. And having like equipment for training just made me feel like it wasn't just, oh, the lower body days are training, the upper body days are what's done in between. Kind of the same thing with having like dedicated shoes for it. Like that same, it's just part of like rituals.
I think sitting in the car can sometimes be a problem because like people just end up like, or at least I personally just end up sitting on my phone like a little too much. And it's not as much of like if I'm in the locker room, I don't want to be there.
Phone is in the gym bag kick recently. I've just it ebbs and flows. Like I'm not like, oh, if you're on your phone, you're a pussy and doesn't train. Like it's like, I'm gonna go out. Let me guess. John Hack checks his phone. I think he's doing all right. You know what I mean? But I think it can be taken too far. And I know people that like their training would be a lot better if it was away, or like at least away for more serious periods of the workout. As far as tips for me, one thing I've been really big on recently is like Josh Bryant talks about mental movies of like doing a big lift that you're training for. So it's like, if I'm gonna deadlift 880, I imagine myself deadlifting 880 every day, like as part of like my preparation, right? You've got your nutrition preparation, you've got your training, you've got your sleep, but there's mental preparation. What I like to do is I just like to run through the next day's session, like from start to finish, imagine myself doing it the day before, and then that session goes so much smoother, and I find I'm a lot more like in the moment and able to make good auto regulation calls because it feels like it's not my first time doing it. I find that really helpful. Like last night I was running through my squat workout today, just like, okay, I'm gonna do this for warm-ups, this is abs, this is how I expect it to feel, and I've run through that mental movie, and now I'm like much more amped to train because of it. I definitely think that helps a good bit. The other thing I like my training. I like my training to look crispy. Like we talked about, you see someone that knows what they're doing. I always want to feel like my sessions look like someone who knows what they're doing. Like if I were to write out the whole workout in the caption of an Instagram post, I want it to be something I'm pretty proud of. Like, yeah, that looks pretty slick. It looks like I know my shit. And it really reduces my buy-in to a workout if I don't feel it looks well organized and thought out. So I want to understand why I'm doing everything I am doing in the session. And then understanding why you're doing something gives you a lot better info on how to do it, right? It's like, oh, are we doing tricep extensions to overload our lockout? In which case we're gonna do like shitty partials, which probably isn't what we're doing. Or are we trying to just generally it's not for carryover, it's for big triceps, which like you always say, yeah, if you can favor towards more range of motion in your assistance work, do it, right? Because we're not looking for specific position-specific strength. We're looking for general hypertrophy, and then we build that position-specific strength on more specific shit, right? Same idea. You have to understand what it's there for. Do you got any others?
Yeah, it's on the topic of like visualization. I feel like I'm not the most bought into like picturing myself doing a lift outside of the session, right?
But before the set, you mean?
Yeah. Before, like during the session, obviously, I'm like trying to like figure
because you can literally see you're doing it in the air over and over.
Oh yeah, I'm big for like mimicking a position. But something that I feel like I did a really bad job of, like probably like last like 6 months ago, that I think I've been trying to do a better job of, is it is so much easier to get your adrenaline up if it's a session you've thought about more.
Yes.
Like sometimes I'll be like, I'm checking all of the boxes. So that's what I need to do.
Yes.
I'm eating all my meals. I'm going to sleep at time. I'm
but
doing
you're not
mobility,
thinking about.
But I'm just like I'm just preparing for whatever the next squat day is, rather than thinking about like the object. Like I'm kind of scared. Like I need to do a good job of this specific lift and thinking about that one lift.
Yeah.
It's like not taking up that mental real estate means I am less focused during the session, and it's harder to get my adrenaline up.
Yeah, no, I noticed the same thing. Is like even if you prepare just as well, I think having that session in the back of your mind, like Tom Sultan actually said the opposite.
Yeah.
Right, but I think that might just be because he's like prone to getting overwhelmed by training. Where he's like, I want to do a good job with my variables, but I don't want to be thinking about training until it's time to train. And just anecdotally, that's not what I've seen for myself, and it's not for what I've seen for my most successful clients. Like the strongest guys I coach are all kind of back of their head 3 days out. God damn, that's a scary squat. That's a squat. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's big in terms of nutrition. Like I'm sure I could like give like, hey, if you really struggle to get in calories, try to find cheat meals that are like they're easy to eat but are semi decent on your digestion, and use them sparingly. Don't over rely on them.
Yeah.
But don't try to be some hardo who's like, if the result is what matters. Like flexing that you eat nothing but clean food while you weigh 170 pounds and are failing to gain weight isn't cool. Getting results is cool, right? So don't over rely on it, but don't be like a hardo and think you're super cool for not doing it.
Yeah.
But try to like, don't just say, oh, well, I think this works well for me, but it's really what you think is the most tasty. Like you and I have done a little bit of experimenting with like, okay, if we need like a easy to eat high calorie meal, what is going to leave you in like a decent state the next day and not have like a lot of, it's not going to outweigh the pros of getting in a high calorie meal if it's the right time to take a high calorie meal. But it's like going out and getting a burger for me is a much better option than eating a pizza or eating a pint of ice cream, right? Because the pint of ice cream, I don't know if it's, I think the research says no, but it feels like the sugar messes up my sleep. Whereas if I go eat 2 burgers, good amount of calories, it's all right. It's really not too bad. So it's like, I think identifying what your high calorie meals are practically, not just using it as a high calorie, that means I get to eat whatever I want. Like it should be to some degree, like it should be enjoyable. That's the whole point, is it's easier to eat.
Well,
But
it's sometimes like, I have to go off diet, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But like even keeping that within like the framework of like what is going to make my training go well, even if I have to go off.
For sure.
Well, it's like we both of us know that if you eat a McDonald's burger rather than Taco Bell, one of those is going to result in a better session the next session. Probably.
For sure. Yeah, no, I feel there's a big difference in how I feel. You know what I mean? And even if I really liked Taco Bell, which I can't say I do, I would still pick the one that's going to digest a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know. The mental running through the session version of visualization versus I'm thinking about, like, it ties into being process oriented and being excited for your next training day rather than all the training days are just a means to an end. I can't wait to hit this single. Because if you miss that single, you're going to be in a bad spot in terms of burnout. If you're enjoying each day of training and that's the mental movie, I think that does lend itself to what everybody yaps about, which is process oriented over goal oriented.
I do think there is something to be said about that, like having that like goal.
I think some people you respond well to it. I don't think everybody does.
That's fair.
You know, it's like
I guess that's more of a message. It's just like figuring out like through actual trial and error and being like objective with yourself what's leading to better results in terms of like
for you, right?
And how you prepare.
I think a lot of guys pick what they think they want. Like a lot of people just. There's this big disconnect between what they're saying and what they're actually doing. And they're saying what they wish was true because they think that's the coolest mentality. But it's like, you miss sessions. What are you talking? You're not that guy. Like they watch an Eddie Hall video and they're like, Eddie is the coolest mentality. He's so much cooler than all the other strongmen. I'm just going to claim I have that mentality. And it's like, what you're doing does not line up with that. What you should do is acknowledge the objective realities of what works for you and then select things that maximize your result. Because like I said, super idealistic, like this is what you should be doing, and not getting results is way lamer than if I don't do this, I mentally burn out. Acknowledging that instead of just pretending you never burn out, and then tailoring your training to get better results. Better results is cooler.
Yeah, I think I
see that a lot where guys won't admit that they have a fault, so then they're just like insistent on treating it as if it isn't there, and then they get poor results because of it. Instead of being like Bryce Lewis always like soy posting about his feelings. Bryce Lewis is an amazing lifter who's clearly very mentally resilient, and acknowledging his like what he's hung up on clearly is working just fine for him instead of just hardo Viking posting and totaling 400 pounds less than Bryce on gear. Right? So it's like, okay, Bryce is the cooler guy here. Yeah. For sure.
All right, guys, that is this episode of Large Lads. Let me know what you thought of the contest segment. If you've got any ideas for videos, let me know.
Man, I'm feeling aesthetic.
We should be back to semi-regularly scheduled Large Lads.
All right, this will go up whenever I put together a nice little intro.
Also, Sam is the one who puts together the intros. I feel like people think that I do it because Sam says I'm the one who makes these videos. I'm the one who comes up with most of the ideas, which
not for the intros.
Are sometimes hit or miss.
Not for the intros.
Sam is the one doing all of the intros, so full credit to Sam. All right, adios.
We should get grills for the next one.